Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my guest is Chandradeep Singh Rathore, who is a assistant director and worked on projects such as Chapak, Sam Bahadur, Raazi and Talwar. To watch the whole video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. My first question is like, what inspired you to become an assistant director, sir? Why you choose to become an assistant director?
Uh, See, I'll tell you something. I would rather say that the like why I wanted to be in films. So actually, when I was studying in college, I was very fascinated by advertising. I was very fascinated by the idea of and in early 90s and 2000s. These very interesting ads used to come, all your Fabicol ads, your Bajaj ads, your Happy Dent ads from Equinox and all. So that used to really fascinate me, and I was like, these ads have such interesting stories, and how do they convey such good emotions, pure emotions through advertising. So when I was studying in college, I always wanted to do something with advertising. But at the same time, a lot of time, when you don't have right reference, when you don't have right knowledge around you, so you don't know how to approach it. I didn't know how to get into advertising. So I did my research. I asked a couple of friends. Then I got to know, if you studying in a art school, then maybe either you can get into the design side of it, or you can get into the art side of it, or either you do a mass media course, so you can get into the either a client servicing side or media planning side or something like that. Or if you're generally good at writing, then maybe you can get into copywriting. So I did my research a bit, and one of my cousin was doing a mass media course. Then he told me that if you do mass media, it might help you get into advertising. So from there, I enrolled to this college in Bombay. It's called Mumbai Educational Trust. It's called MET. Uh, so I did my mass media course from there. So when initially you join a mass media course, in the first 6 months they teach you like advertising, journalism, and film and television. So while doing this course, I realizes that I'm more inclined towards film and television. Because advertising was a lot about marketing, research related. Doing your PPTs, doing surveys, and all. So I was never inclined towards that. I was more inclined towards watching films and analyzing them and all. So I in while studying, there was this professor called Samar Nakhate. So he used to be an ex-dean of FTIF of the TV division, and he used to take our lectures in college. So and he was one of the person who influenced me a lot to get into films. So he used to take our film analysis classes where he would show us any film, and then he'll dissect it, and he'll just throw questions at us. Why this shot has been taken in this manner, or why this uh, character is behaving this way. So from there, I decided that I want to specialize in film and television and not advertising. So I did my specialization in film and television, and whatever little knowledge I had about films, and all the technicalities about other departments like cinematography, sound. So I learned that from that course, and I did my first internship during the course at a ad film production house called Candid Creations. Candid Creation is run by this famous cinematographer called Kiran Dev Hans. So Kiran Devans is primarily a director of photography, but he also directs ads at his ad film production house, which is called Candid Creations. So I started interning with Kiran sir. So I was assisting as AD their own ads. So after finishing my course, Kiran sir asked me, once you finish your course, you can always come back and join Candid. So after finishing my course, I started assisting on ads. So I did around 6 8 months of assisting on ads, but after that always wanted to get into features, because I my bigger goal and passion was to work on feature films. So thankfully, through some friend, I was just constantly approaching people that if you can get me on some features and all. Through a friend, I got to work on my first feature film, which was in uh, around 2009-10. Ram Gopal Verma used to run this production house called Factory. So Ram Gopal Varma has directed this film called Phunk, which was a horror film. So there was a sequel to Phunk they were making. It's called Phunk 2. So they were prepping for that project, and I went there to meet them for that project. And luckily, the second AD on the project was my friend. His name was Rahil Patel, and I went there, and luckily Rahil was there, and immediately Rahil said that you come on board. You don't have to meet anyone, and because of him, I got to work on that project immediately. Like I joined, and from there I started working as the third assistant director on that project. So that's how I got into feature films and all. And after that, like you just keep meeting people, you keep working from one project to another. Yeah, like that.
So, sir, how many assistant director are there in a film like this? First AD, second AD, how many assistant director are there, sir?
So Akash, it always depends from project to project. Like if it's a big project, like I have worked on like Sam Bahadur, and I have also worked on a very small film which we did called Love You to Death, which was an independent film. So on Love You to Death, there were only three ADs. There was this first AD, there's this lady I really look up to. Her name is Ananya Rani. She used to be one of the very prominent first AD we had in India. She is she's like amazing, and I got to work with her, so I learned a lot from her. So on Love You to Death, there were only three ADs. There was Ananya, there was Aditya, who was the second AD, and there was me at the same time, because Love to Death was a really small project. Like we can't afford too many ADs. Like you have to divide responsibilities and uh, manage within limited number of ADs. At the same time, on Sam Bahadur we had like 10 ADs, because Sam Bahadur was a really huge project, and there was too much to take care of. Like it was, first of all, it was a period film, plus it was ranging between 1930s to 1970s. So like there was lots to do in the costume, there was lots to do in the art. One AD was entirely responsible for vehicles, one was only responsible for weapons, one AD was only looking into casting, there were three ADs who were looking into costumes, there were two ADs who were looking into art. Like there was this DA. So like it always depends from project to project. Like you always make your team as per the requirement of the project.
Sir, if somebody wants to become an AD, assistant director, how they can approach someone, sir?
See, there are multiple ways. Like either you have studied into a film school, so that if you have a educational background in films, it always helps. So usually, you approach these production houses, where or if you know somebody who's already been working in the industry. You like, for example, I work as a chief assistant director. So somebody, if you know me, you would approach me that, like, CD, I want to work as an AD. And initially I would suggest you that, you should assist on ads, or maybe, like, even if you join a feature film, you might get to work as an intern. So matlab, as in somebody who wants to become an AD, either they can go to production houses with their resume and approach somebody who's already been working in the industry.
Sir, what is the job of an assistant director, sir?
Okay, that's a little elaborated. Like, I mean to say, AD's job is to primarily manage shoot. Like, for example, as an assistant director, you have a team. You have a team of ADs, like five, six ADs. So you divide ADs into departments. Our primary job is to coordinate with other departments and make sure the director has all the things required for the shoot, whether it is got to do, like, 180 would coordinate with art department. So anything to do with art requirement of the film, that person would make sure that, okay, do we have everything which is art related for the shoot. So that person would coordinate with art, one person would coordinate with costumes, somebody would coordinate with production, somebody would look into the casting of it, coordinating with the casting team. As a first AD, you are responsible for making the schedule of the whole film, like how are we going to approach it, how many days of shoot is going to be. You sit with production, you sit with director, and you materialize, okay, these many locations we have, so this is how we should approach it, these many number of shoot it's going to be. You talk to DOP, ask for their requirement. If they have anything specific, you make a schedule, you share it with them, uh, discuss with director and DOP as per their preference. Like you schedule scenes. Like if the DOP want to schedule a particular scene in specific lighting, then you would go as per their preference. So you schedule the whole film on the day-to-day basis. You coordinate with production and all other departments. Whether it's sound, whether it's hair and makeup, all VFX, anything to do with any all the department which comes together to make a film.
And so, what are the working hours, sir? Because I've heard like it's long hours for assistant director.
No, so you're asking how many hours we work as an AD? Okay, so see, I'll tell you something. It always depends from production house, from director, from the project you're working on. Normally, it's always a 12-hour shift. Like for example, if it's a 7 to 7 shift, like 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening, then normally it's 12 hours of shift. So for 7 o'clock shift, the crew would come at 6 o'clock because your crew call is hour prior to your shift time, and then you shoot call normally is like if it's a 7 o'clock shift, depends what we are starting with, and normally it's around after if it's a 7 o'clock shift, then shoot call might be 8 o'clock, so that we are prepped for what we are shooting first. Normally it's 12 hours, 12 hours of shoot. Sometimes it happens that, yeah, sorry, I was just saying, sometimes it happens that you finish early. Sometimes it happens that in order to achieve what you have been scheduled for a day, you stretch for a few hours, but not regularly. We work for 12 hours, not we don't work like crazy like 16, 18 hours. We don't do that.
So let's talk about your film which you have worked like. First of all, I want to talk about Heather, sir. Your experience in Heather.
When I joined the industry, I always wanted to work with Vishal sir, and I was hugely influenced by Omkara. And after like as I mentioned to you, like this dear friend of mine, Rahil, who got me onto Phook too. So Rahil was working. I got to know that Rahul was working on Sat Khun Maaf. So then I got in touch with Rahil and I've told him, yeah, like how dearly I want to work with Vishal sir, and desperately. So then at that point in time, Rahil told me that the team is already been locked, and there is no possibility we can get you on to Sat Khun Maaf. So then after that, that project didn't happen, but I was still constantly chasing people who've been working with him. And eventually, then after Sat Khun Maaf, Vishal sir was doing this film called Matru Ki Bijli Ka Mandola. And fortunately, Rahil was the first AD on it. So then he called me for that project, and that's how I got to work with Vishal sir. And I was so crazy to work with him that I didn't even ask whether I'll get paid or not. I was like, whatever you guys pay me, I'm absolutely fine with it. But all I want to do is just learn with him, like just observe him. How does he approach his scenes? Does he shoot? I mean, say he's one man army. He can do so much, like he can write, he can direct, he can produce, he can compose. So I sometimes I used to wonder how can a person do so much at one time. So I worked with sir on Matruki Bijli Ka Mandola, and from there a rapport has been established. So after that, we worked on Haider. Haider was absolutely amazing because one, we were shooting in Kashmir, and the weather was fantastic. And the people of Kashmir are so lovely to work with. Uh, all the actors we worked with, it was an amazing, amazing experience because that film was entirely shot in Kashmir, and the crew was so good. So yeah, Heather was an absolutely amazing experience.
So, any difficulties you face during the shoot?
Yeah, yeah. I mean to say, we did face a lot of difficulties because it used to snow a lot because we were shooting in peak winters. So sometimes because of snow we couldn't shoot, or sometimes we have to just climb a mountain which has snow till your knee deep. So sometime like when the snow gets hardened, like a lot of crew would slip and fall. So yeah, all those things. Otherwise, it was peaceful. Like because I think the script was so good, and we had such amazing actors like Shahid and Irfan Saab, Tabu Ma'am, Shraddha. It was so much fun working with them. And on top of that, Vishal sir. So yeah.
And sir, your working relationship with Meghna Gulzar ma'am, as you have worked with four films like Talwar, Razi, Sam Bahadur Chapak, what was the experience like?
So yeah, so I got to meet Meghna ma'am through Vishal sir. So when we were working on Haider, that's when Meghna ma'am came to meet Vishal sir for Talwar. You know, they were putting together Talwar because Vishal sir has written it and Meghna ma'am has directed it. So that's when I got to meet Meghna ma'am through Vishal sir. And I still have a little formal relationship with Vishal sir because he's very senior and a lot of respect. Similarly, I have a lot of respect for Meghna ma'am, but Meghna ma'am is more like a friend, you know. Like I can talk to her about anything. You know, we do discuss a lot of things. We uh, plan shoots. We make the schedule together. I think Meghna ma'am is one of the best director I have ever worked with because one I think I have a excellent understanding with her uh, because she's the kind of director who sits with you on each and everything, you know, whether it's breakdowns, whether it's schedule, whether it's any planning, like planning recce's or anything, you know, like she's the kind of director who really looks after her team, who would sit with them, who would stay in the same hotel as her team is staying. She would travel with the speed with her team. So that's why I really gel with her. I think she's a great human being. So I really connect with her and I'm very fond of her.
And sir, your experience while working on those films, like first we'll talk about Talwar sir.
I think Talwar was such a good script that it reminds you of Rashomon and like the way Meghna ma'am has shot it. It was fantastic. Again, we had more or less the same team which was working on Heather. The team which was working on Heather, same team came on Talwar. So there was a comfort level with the team also. Pankaj, who shot Heather, is the same DOP who shot Talwar also. Pankaj has such a great body of work, whether it's Tumbad, whether it's Heather, Talwar. So yeah, Pankaj was there, and all the ADs from my team, like whether it's Ankur, whether it's Ghazal, all of them were there with us. Plus, Meghna ma'am was there. So it has always been very helpful and comfortable to work with her. Uh, yeah, it was very hot when we were shooting in Delhi, but maybe because it was a smaller team and we stick together, so we really enjoy the process of making films. So it was an excellent experience.
Sir Razi, your experience in Razi sir.
Yeah, Razi was fantastic, like because Razi again had such amazing, like we had the same team, like Meghna ma'am and the same ADs we had on Talwar came on Razi as well, along with few others, like Kanishka was there, Arzu was there, so Ghazal and Ankur was already there. Uh, I think these people, when you have a really good team, it really makes your job easy. And plus, when you have a director who you are really comfortable with, like if there is anything, if there's a problem which has happened, so you don't have to panic about it. You can always discuss it with the director and think of a solution rather than just panicking about the problem. So it was great, like Razi has such amazing actors again, Alia is so good to work with, Jaideep sir is so good to work with, all of them, even other actors, they were fantastic, Vicky is a delight to work with, like seriously, he's such a good human being, I can't even tell you. It's a pleasure to work with him always. Yeah, again, Razi has such amazing locations because we were shooting again in Kashmir, we were shooting in Punjab, we were shooting in Bombay. Yeah, it has always been. Razi was so much fun. Yeah, even so, like all the project where I have worked with Meghna ma'am have been so much fun. Whether it was Razi, whether it was Chapak, again DP is so professional. She is so punctual. She's always on time. She's always so good to people. Uh, Being such a big superstar, she has no air about herself. Like she's amazing to work with. Vikrant is equally good. He's a really nice guy and equally good actor. Similarly, when we worked on Sam Bahadur, our team is so good. Like even for like films like Sam Bahadur and Razi, it's also because of the team. The DOP of Sam Bahadur and Razi is the same guy, Jay Patel. So Jay is been really, like we've been working since long. Jay is a old friend. Uh, when Jay also worked with us on Matru Ki Bijli Ka Mandola. So, like when you're working with friends, it becomes more of a work, like it becomes less of a work and more of fun. There's a kind of comfort level when you're working with people you know. So it doesn't feel like as if you are dealing with someone who is not approachable. So all these people makes, like life easy, and it becomes very comfortable to make a film. Yeah.
Sir, do assistant director work is only in shooting? Do they work in post production or pre production as well?
Definitely, definitely. Like for example, usually what happens, like on a project, there is it. If you look at the hierarchy of the assistant directors, there is the first assistant director, then there is a second assistant director, there is a second, and there is a third assistant director. There is always a person called DA, who's director's assistant. So mostly DAs stick around for the post production of the film. Uh, like for example, on Sam Bahadur, we had this friend of ours, Arunita. Arunita was Meghna Ma'am's DA. So Aru was always involved from the beginning of the film. Like she's always been part of the research. She's always been part of the any sort of referencing. She was also dealing with the art team along with Himanshu. She then once the principal photography ended, all the ADs, like they were moved on to some other work or with their to their personal stuff, but Arunita was sticking around till the end of the film. So usually DAs stick around for the post production of the film. I also worked on the post production of Chapak because I spoke to Meghna ma'am and I've told her that I want to work on the post of this film, and that's how I finished working on the post production of Chapak. Yeah.
Sir, are you doing any projects right now? Currently shooting something?
No, currently, so after Sam Bahadur, I have not taken up anything major. Like I was working on this really special project, but there's this company called On the Road India. It has been run by this guy called Dilip Singh Rathore. He is a very senior producer. He does a lot of international shoots in India. I have also worked with him while we were shooting for Dark Knight Rises in India. Dilip sir called me for this project. Dushyant, who's also part of the same team, who's also handles like who's the UPM, like the production manager. So Dushyant called me for the project, and then I met Dilip da. So it was we were shooting this film in Andaman Nicobar. It's called The Last Days of John Allen Chow. It has been directed by this guy called Justin Lin. So Justin Lin has directed all of your Fast and Furious movies, like at least 4 or 5 of them. We were prepping for that project, but because of some permission issues, the project is on hold currently. So after that, I have not taken up anything. I'm just currently uh, like just trying to focus on my writing. I have few concepts which I'm developing, so not taking up a lot of work. Being very cautious. Like I want to focus more on the writing. I don't want to do a lot of work, but focus more on the writing so that I can start the pitching and like my journey as a film director. Yeah.
Great, sir, great. So, if somebody wants to become an assistant director, sir, if they want to approach you, how they can approach you, sir?
See, I can. You have my email ID, so they can leave my their resume to my email ID, or they can message me on Instagram. Yeah, they can approach me there. Yeah, so those two medium, either through the email ID or through Instagram. They can DM me.
Sir, if you could recommend your favorite films, sir, and filmmakers as well.
Yeah, I'm going to say there are a lot of them. I'm going to say again, definitely, I'm a big fan of Vishal Bhardwaj. I'm a big fan of Meghna Gulzar's work. Fortunately, I also got to work with her on the same projects. I'm a big fan of Ritesh Batra's, Lunchbox, Neeraj Kevan's Masan. I love Rishikesh Mukherjee's movies, from Chupke Chupke to Anand to Bawarchi. Uh, of course, like all your classics from Guru Dutt's Pyasa to Mughal Azam to Pakiza, all those films, all your Satyajit Ray's Pathe Panchali and Apur Sansar and all. I am a big fan of this director Alejandro Inarritu, who has directed Birdman and Amaro Sparrows, Babel. So in fact, his filmography has always influenced me, and I've seen all of his films. Because his initial films from Amaro Sparrows to Babel to 21 Gram has. I was very interested in the multiple story structure and how they connect each other. So that format of storytelling has always influenced me a lot. Uh, so I thoroughly enjoyed his film. I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro, Span Labyrinth. Uh, yeah, I've really enjoyed working with. I'm a big fan of Fargo. Like Coen Brothers, any work of Coen Brothers, you always enjoy because it is such good writing that you just immerse in it. American Beauty, all these films, like even like I'm a big fan of Lagan. Lagan is a film school in itself. Rang De Basanti, uh, all of like even a lot of them, yeah, a lot of them, like Farhan Akhtar, I'm very fond of, like Dil Chahta Hai, Lakshya, even Dawn for that matter. So, yeah.
Sir, if somebody wants to start their journey as an assistant director, what advice would you give to them, sir?
Now, see, I'll tell you something, like there are two ways, like either, so I would say, the question should be if somebody wants to become a film director or but what how should they approach it if somebody wants to get into films, like if somebody wants to approach it as a profession. So there could be two ways about it. Either you can go to a film school, learn the craft, and start making your own film from short films, one after another, and slowly you write something, and then you develop a body of work. Like if you have two, three short films which people have liked, and then you can approach somebody with the script of your own. So that is one approach. Another approach is somebody who's already been working in the industry. You approach them, or you go to any famous directors you've always been, idealizing or you've been wanting to work with. Like how I always wanted to work with Vishal Bhardwaj, and like I was looking for people who've been working at his production house or in his team. So I was approaching them, like somehow if I can get to work with him. Similarly, if anybody who's a big fan of Vikramaditya Motwani, like I'm a big fan of Vikramaditya Motwani. I've loved all his films from Lutera to Udan to Bhavesh Joshi, everything, even Jubilee is superb. Uh, so, you have to either approach them somehow, if you manage to have access to them, or if not directly them, at least someone from their team, and just keep chasing people. You can't just message them once and then like if you keep chasing people, then somewhere you stay in their memory, and they realize, okay, no, I think this guy deserve a chance. Like he's been following up since so long, and let's work with that person, and you get them on board. So a lot of time this happens. Like another way, like for example, in Hollywood, people like don't graduate from being an assistant director to become a director. Like they always graduate to become either EPs, or they get into production, they become UPM. In fact, the last project where I was working with, there was this we have this really senior US first AD from US. His name was Vincent. So Vincent, I asked him, like Vincent, so how do people eventually become directors in US? Like if they like if they don't want to assist anyone, what is the other way? So he said, you keep making your own films, like and when I made my first short film Mochang, like the most important thing I've realized is that nothing in this world can teach you more than making your own films. You know, you can assist anybody in this world, but when you work as an AD, you have always been caught up in the logistics of the film. You know, like your focus would always be on the requirements. Your focus would always be on to make sure that, you know, the shoot is going smoothly. You have covered everything. You know, like you have met all the requirements of the scene. You make sure that the director is comfortable. You have everything which the director required. But when you make your own films, you have to take some tough calls. You know, you have to take decisions which on set as an AD you are not taking. Someone else is taking them. But I think, you know, like the making your own film is also a great way to become a filmmaker, because you just keep making films after films, and then eventually you get better with every film of yours. And most important thing is to write. You know, like all the ADs should write, because until unless you have a script in your hand, gonna give you a chance to direct a film. You know, like it always helps. You know, like you can always take someone else's script, but if you have written something, it gives you a better understanding of the script. Yeah. You know, like there is a famous saying which goes like, you know, like if you should, like, if you are not a writer, but you should know how to read films. You know, like you should understand the writing of the writer, so that as a filmmaker you can always make it better. Yeah.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for joining. Sir,
No, it's a pleasure. It's a
it's
pleasure, Akash.
it's my pleasure to be able to talk to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akash. It was lovely talking to you.
See you, sir. Thank you so much.